Ancient pyramids. How did they get here? Who built them? How they were built and what their purpose was is much up for debate. But today we're going to lift the veil off of those secrets, try to take a closer look. Sir Isaac Newton, one of the most renowned humans in history of Earth, also was curious as to the construction and purpose of ancient pyramids around the world, specifically the Great Pyramids of Giza. Now, in December of 2020, just a couple years ago, a piece of Isaac Newton's journal has been found, been discovered, and it's been auctioned off for about $500,000 US. The journal page is said to have been burnt because Isaac Newton's dog knocked a candle off the table.
God damn it, Rufus.
And caused his home to burn. However, that's speculation. We don't exactly know why it's burnt. But on the burnt journal page, he offers some insight as to what his thoughts were about the pyramids and some questions he had, which was,
why they do that?
Can these pyramids predict the end of the world?
A bit of a drastic, conclusion there. Question.
Now, Isaac Newton was a man of science. Some would say pseudoscience back then. This was definitely a fringe topic of study, especially when it came to things like the occult and magic, alchemy, the Great Pyramids, doomsdays, stuff like that.
Hell yeah. Good shit.
Okay, he's the one that invented calculus, so I trust him. All right, it's not pseudoscience. I trust him.
I feel like people call out pseudoscience when they don't like what the other person's saying.
Or they don't understand it.
Yeah,
they're like,
it's
math.
true.
They're like, oh shit, letters and math. I don't get this. I'm out.
Yeah, they're like, you're dumb, dude.
I can't handle this, dude. 1 + 2. I get that shit.
Now, Isaac Newton was specifically interested in this one measurement the ancient people that built these pyramids used to build them, and it was called a cubit. And he noticed that every 33 cubits of measurement used to build the pyramids kind of correlated with history and major events. 33 cubits, the birth of Christ. 33 cubits, the death of Christ, so on and so forth. You can line these up. Isaac Newton had a list. He was lining all this stuff up. So his question was, how far can we go? If you can track these cubits to every major thing that's ever happened in history, does it surpass current time? And can we use this to predict the end of the world?
So we know that there's going to be something within the cubit, at the end of the cubits, is what you're telling us.
The unit of measurement.
Yes.
We don't know what it is, but we know it's gonna fuck us.
So once we get to that last cubit,
that's when we know the world's gonna end.
Bend over, baby.
It makes sense in my head. You're preaching to the choir here, baby.
Hear me out. It's when the aliens come back.
Yeah.
So I'm
they
saying
could be claiming their property. I think he was also interested in the theory that the pyramids may have been some sort of power harvester.
For energy?
For energy, yeah, for electrical energy.
Like how it's funneled through the actual pyramid and shoots out.
Yeah. Nikola Tesla was also interested in the exact same thing. He even tried to build himself a replica of a pyramid on a much smaller scale on top of one of his workshops, which actually worked. I think he even called it like a pyramid or something. But his theory was that these pyramids were some sort of deactivated power energy harvesters, and maybe that these pyramids were used to help build more pyramids once one was constructed.
So actually, speaking of Nikola Tesla and how the pyramids and everything's funneling energy and everything, there's a certain guy on TikTok. I forgot his actual handle, but it's Dr. Parker or something like that.
Dr. Parkenstein.
Dr. Parkenstein. Where he's,
that kid's nuts.
Dude, that guy's insane. All right. He is, I don't know if anyone has seen the TikToks. He's on there actually building Nikola Tesla type stuff where he's creating energy that's just in the air, electricity that's in the air. He basically gets it running on his backyard. Like the whole backyard is basically this whole electric grid. And then he just holds a light bulb and it just starts lighting up in his hand, not connected to anything. There's people across the US that are like, oh shit, I got power now because of how he gave them the receiving end. And they're like, holy shit, this is actually working whenever he turns his thing on. It's insane. Go to his TikTok. Also, TikTok got rid of his main account for some reason. They don't know why. So he made a second account. Now he's just popular again for being a genius.
And while you're on TikTok, be sure to follow the Plastic Lounge Podcast TikTok.
So maybe that's like what the pyramids were for. Maybe they were like wirelessly transmitting some sort of energy. And I think there's even pyramids that aren't even in Egypt. They're everywhere, all across the world. North America, South America. Aren't you researching some? Didn't you research some, Messiah?
Yeah, that is actually correct. And kind of the intro to what you were saying there, it works out perfectly. Perfect segue is obviously many people, when they think pyramids, they think Egypt. But really, there's a lot of known discovered pyramids right now in Central America that you could go visit. Guatemala has a bunch, but there's also undiscovered ones. And a lot of undiscovered ones tend to be within South America. And that's where I'm going to take everybody here. South America, the Amazon rainforest. And before we get into any details, let me just break down the Amazon rainforest, because I think some people know what it is, but I don't think a lot of people realize the magnitude of this thing. So the Amazon rainforest is 2.72 million square miles.
I could track that. I could handle that. It's fine.
Ginormous.
It's like a backyard, dude.
The whole Amazon basin is roughly the size of 48 United States of Americas.
Damn.
Covers 40% of the South American continent. Much of that, much like our oceans, is completely undiscovered. I don't know if you guys know, the Amazon rainforest is a rainforest in a jungle that's very dense. You can't walk through there.
So I have an answer to fix all this.
Huh?
What if we just
cut it all down?
What if we just burn it all down and we get to see what's under there? Burn the whole forest down.
There's a lot of government, especially in Brazil, politician side, that they do want to cut down most of the rainforest and make soybean farms. And there's obviously a lot of people that are against that and want to preserve the rainforest. I do believe, I'm not into Brazilian politics here, but I believe the current party, if you will, that's in there are pro rainforest and preserving it. So
I say burn them all.
But what's weird, so you have this lush, giant rainforest. Every year, we learn more and more about what lies beneath. It is believed that approximately 20 million people used to live throughout the Amazon rainforest. That's different than what scientists used to believe. They believe there used to be different little pockets of villages, almost tribe-like communities. But since they've been investigating more, they do think that there was these ancient cities and civilizations that used to live within the Amazon rainforest. Now, a little history lesson for everybody. Back in the 16th century, European explorers and settlers came over to Guatemala and started exploring / invading / conquering. And as they explored, they were hearing tales of these big giant cities in South America in the rainforest. And when a lot of these explorers would go back to wherever they came from, they would tell these tales. And about 200 years after that first touch in Central America and into South America, about 200 years after, another group of explorers and settlers kind of went back there to follow up on the lead, if you will. And they just see just a dense, insane rainforest with nothing. And they're like, dude, these guys lied. But what scientists believe is that smallpox actually ran through the jungle and killed everybody.
The invaders brought it when they were
They did bring a lot of diseases. A lot of people do put that connection. It's not confirmed. There's a lot. It goes really deep with the Amazon rainforest. The type of soil that they have there reproduces itself. It's weird. It's crazy. So it could be believed it's got something from that. Who knows? But a lot of people believe smallpox was the killer, knocked everybody out. So when these another group of explorers came, they don't see all these people with lush cities. Scientists believe that it would only take within 100 years of people stop living in the Amazon rainforest before it becomes literally what we know today. Dense, lush, tropical jungle rainforest. If you think about it, right? If you think about it, all humans stopped right now, how long do you think it would take before like vegetation and nature just took over cities?
Yeah, probably not that long.
Would have trouble doing New York. Like the city on the island. Dude, Central Park's gonna have to do some work. If that. Are we talking about like lions and shit being out there too? Like they're escaping the zoos?
Like nature, yeah. It's just like no humans, like things just get overran and then trees keep growing. They don't get cut down and, you know, yada, yada. But they believe, especially with the climate there in the rainforest, it's even faster rate of that. So they really believe within 100 years, actually. So by the time the second set of settlers came, it's been 100 plus years that it's been a dense rainforest. So that's kind of a history part of the rainforest. Again, giving you guys a little backstory and the multitude of what this thing is. And lately, scientists have been using a lot of new technology and being able to actually explore and get a feel of what is inside the rainforest. And what they find and what they've been finding is actually astonishing. Scientists have been flying planes over parts of the rainforest, and you can only do this in certain kind of like quadrants because you have to test it, yada, yada, yada. They use a technology called LIDAR, LIDAR, which stands for light detection and ranging. And the basic premise of this is it's like remote sensing that uses light in the form of lasers, and they pretty much shoot them down to the earth, these light pulses. Like the Death Star. Yeah, and they combine that and some other data to generate precise three-dimensional information about the landscape. So you can really get to like the Earth's surface. So you can map up, and then you could see when your lasers hit something and bounce back, you can detect elevation. They've been finding almost these giant cities with railways, roadways, bridges, different housing type structures, all sorts of different things. But they've also found pyramids.
Oh, shit.
So far, there's believed that there's been close to 11 unknown, what they are deeming pyramids being discovered from what they've tested so far. They've already found a pyramid that's 80 feet tall. Now, you guys might be thinking, that ain't shit compared to like the pyramids in Egypt. That might be true, but that's all they found so far. Mind you, we're talking 2.7 million square miles that they have to search through.
Yeah, that could be a baby.
Also, can we just talk about how it's pyramids across the country, like across the world? How there's the same structures somewhere else by totally different civilizations? Makes no goddamn sense.
And it actually ties back a little bit what you were saying, Grits. A lot of these structures, they believe like where they're positioned and the angles they face is like the solar like energy like funnels through at a certain angle. And
like it was harvesting the energy.
And I've read that with most pyramid structures that they're all generally the same. There's a couple outliers out there, but they're all generally shaped and face the same way.
Okay, so I have a general question though, because I have heard that theory before, but I have a different take on it. So this is coming from someone that doesn't really know shit too much about it. You said that they put them there specifically to like harvest the energy that's within some type of line, energy line or something like that.
That's what Nikola Tesla was questioning.
What if the pyramids are creating those energy lines or whatever energy fields? And not them put there to harvest it? What if the pyramids being in those locations, what's creating such phenomenon?
Dude, it could be.
I wonder if any pyramids fall onto ley lines. Have you heard of that? Where the altitude and longitude like meet?
Yep.
No.
Yeah, apparently like where they meet, there's like always crazy shit that happens there. To kind of tie up my story here, what I mentioned is they've already found pyramids up to 80 feet tall, which is actually pretty crazy. They don't have the time / the money because, to be honest with you guys, nobody gives a shit about this. I mean, we just talked about how the Brazilian government just wants to whack down the entire rainforest, you know?
Dude, I'd whack off a pyramid. do the same thing.
So as I mentioned, as much of the jungle is undiscovered and would take mass amounts of time and money to fully preserve the rainforest, especially while exploring it, it makes you wonder what else is fucking out there.
Chupacabras.
Probably. I bet you everything we ever wanted to know in life is shown in the rainforest right now.
Could
Aliens.
be, dude.
Think about it. You have food, you got shelter, the climate's good.
The hidden weed that we don't know about. The Holy Grail.
Dude, I could go on a tangent about fucking land traces of weed. There's like 6 original like forms of weed.
Okay, see, I read a lot of the comments. Only one of us smokes weed here, okay?
You have to guess though.
You do have to, well,
As I was
not that
just
hard.
ripping my joint.
it's not that hard.
Am I wrong? I heard something like wild weed isn't potent. It doesn't
No.
get you high.
You gotta think the cannabis I'm smoking now has literally been like chemically, not chemically, genetically, that's the word I'm looking for. Genetically
get you
modified
stoned.
to be the most potent it could be for this combination.
It's like breeding dogs.
So how? Yeah, I guess you just like kept the plants that got you stoned, and then what? Okay.
Let me know. What do you think? Are there more giant pyramids buried beneath the rainforest? Speaking of building, Rebel?
So, with my story, I found it out live on Twitch. Go follow us down there, all of us. Do it now, faster, faster, faster. But we found this live together. I found the answer. Well, not me technically. There's a guy. He's got the weirdest name ever. Lead Scalnan. Edward Lead Scalnan. We'll just call him Ed for
Say
now.
that 5 times fast.
I'm not doing that.
Lead Scalnan.
Lead Scalnan.
That can't be real, right?
You know, he's real. He was a real guy. Well, we're going to go way back into his life story, pretty much. So he was born in Latvia. Don't ask me where that's at. I don't know. He was 26 years old. And when he was about to get married, his 16-year-old fiance left him the day before the wedding, which is, first of all, weird, champ. It's so gross. I don't like that.
Wait, what year was this?
Old.
Like, what?
Old.
Yeah, what do you mean old?
Old. Pre-World War II. So he moved to America because he was devastated. Man was down bad. The love of his life left him, pretty much. And so when he's in America, he's like trying to figure out life, trying to make ends meet at that point. And then all of a sudden, he gets TB. He gets tuberculosis. And apparently spontaneously healed. Which, I don't know if you guys know, TB, that really, doesn't happen that much. It's usually the silent killer that's going to kill you. But when asked, he pretty much said that magnets saved his life and cured the disease. We'll get back to that later. So, why am I talking about this dude named Ed? So when he got broken up with and he was devastated, he decided, you know what? I'm not going to be a piece of shit. I'm going to build something monumental, something that people will know me for. And I'm going to dedicate it to this person, to the person that I lost.
Let it go, dude.
Well, hey.
Let it go, dude. She moved on, man.
Pussy.
You're gonna move to America and make some shit and then name it after her? Come on, bro.
Jesus Christ.
So that structure that I'm talking about is named Coral Castle. You can find it at the southern tip of Florida. It's in between these cities called Homestead and Leisure City. Just down there doing whatnot, still existing, surviving hurricanes and shit.
Real quick, does Leisure City sound like the place that all old people from the north move to?
Yeah.
That's where you go to die.
Just Florida in general.
God's waiting room.
God damn it. Wow.
So this monument, this Coral Castle area is just existing there. And now you're probably wondering, Rebel, what is Coral Castle? It sounds dumb. And you know what? It does sound dumb unless you actually look deeper into it. So it's almost like this an attraction where you go in there and there's just rocks. There's just a shit ton of rocks everywhere. And you're like, I guess this is cool. Like, I don't know, like people can put rocks here and whatnot. And now, let me describe what it looks like a little bit. There's chairs made out of rocks. There's tables made out of rocks. There's giant moon and planet structures, just kind of pillars sitting there. Now, what's weird about it is that this was all made by one man. One small, weak ass man. I feel like I'm attacking him at this point.
Yeah, god damn.
But no, that's what they're saying. That's what the documents are saying, is that he was kind of scrawny and he was kind of, not a big burly guy to handle ginormous rocks. Let me describe what these rocks are. Coral Castle is 1,100 tons of rocks. It's a lot.
Say 1,100?
1,100 tons. Made out of limestone, by the way. It's not coral. That's the misconception there. But there's also no mortar used. Now, if you don't know what mortar is, it's the little paste that they use to stick rocks to other rocks, aka like bricklaying and shit.
And the clay.
It's pretty much like
in my
clay.
head, because of how my brain works, 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. Dude, that thing's 1,100 ton.
Yep.
Is that 22 million?
No, that's total. That's total.
No, that's 2.2 million pounds.
But that's total of it's not just one giant rock.
Oh. I was about to say, what the bro?
So there's no mortar used. Basically, what he had to do was take one rock and set it on the other rock and let gravity do its work. That seems pretty, I can understand how that's a little bit easier to do than doing mortar and all this other stuff. This is what some scientists pretty much said about this, saying that the craftsmanship was so detailed and it was so fine, and that the stones are all connected with such precision that no light passes through the joints. Similar to the Great Pyramids of Giza, how fine and perfect they are, that people don't know how they did it. They didn't have the tools back then to do the Pyramids of Giza. They don't understand how one man made this perfectly on his own. The entire Coral Castle, over decades, the stones have not moved. Now, this is Florida. There's hurricanes everywhere. I don't know why people still live in Florida. That's a terrible place to live.
Bro, they have a game where you type in your birthday and type in Florida and you read the crazy thing that happened.
Exactly. Get out of Florida. Nothing's good there. Now, the entire area, the perimeter, is surrounded by 8-foot walls. And he also has 25-foot tall monoliths of just a slab of stone. Now, I don't know about you guys, but have you ever tried lifting, I don't know, a little boulder? Because that's heavy as shit and I can't lift it. Also, it is famous for this revolving stone door. It's a giant block and the dimensions are so precise that it barely fits through the little doorway that he created. However, he balanced it so perfectly that a little child, could push it with one finger and it'll rotate with ease.
What the hell?
In 1986, this door stopped working. It stopped rotating. They're like, you know what? We had to make it work. We're going to go in there and we're going to deconstruct this one little gate. And so they went in there and they found out that he did use a little bearing to rotate the thing because you kind of have to. It took 6 men in a ginormous, massive crane to take this door off compared to just one dude doing it by himself. When building all this, he would have people come in, he would do tours for them. He would pretty much charge them 10 cents, but he would also just do it for free because it wasn't about the money for him. He would just kind of, hey, come and look what I built. Let's get weird here. Ed built this Coral Castle in 1923. Originally, it was built in Florida City. Ed decided, hey, I want to move. I want to go somewhere else. So he left and moved the fucking castle with him.
What?
He took the castle and moved it somewhere else, like the SpongeBob meme. He literally pushed the city and took it somewhere. And so now it lies at the spot where I said earlier, next to Homestead and Leisure City. All of you guys are probably wondering, why? What does this have to do with pyramids? Ed, on his off time, would pretty much dabble in some other stuff. He messed around with magnetism. He would do experiments with magnetism. What he said before, magnetism helped cure is tuberculosis. And he even wrote a book about magnetism. It's called Magnet Current. You can go buy this on like Amazon or anywhere right now. You can go read this if you want. And it's basically his own perspective on magnetism. And what they believe is that he knew how to manipulate the magnet field around these stones and place them where they need to be, because he would not let anyone watch him while he built this structure. He would do it at night in the dark, one man lifting tons and tons of stone, multiple tons of stone.
I'm looking at pictures of this place. It's like pretty remarkable how someone...
Dude, one guy.
Yeah, I looked it up too.
Thank you for chilling with us and learning about pyramids across the world, discovered or undiscovered. Join the Discord below if you want to chat offline, or if you have any suggestions or personal experiences of your own that you want us to talk about.